Hey gang, Aaron Fisher here with another episode of the Card Magic Minute. This is my chance to share with you some of the profound lessons my students are learning when we study together every week during the course of my online personal training program. Now this week I want to talk to you about practice habits. We all have them, and the habits that we develop when we practice will be coming out in our performances whether we like it or not, or whether we know what they are or not. I remember the old timers I used to hang out with. Some of them used to drink a little too much. Now, it's fair to say they were all legal adults and legal to drink, but some of them would wink and wryly say, well, if you're going to perform drunk, you ought to practice drunk. And I guess up to a certain point, they knew exactly what they were talking about, because at least when they were performing drunk, they had prepared for the show. Because the bottom line is, whatever you're going to be doing when you're practicing is largely how it's going to come out in the show. Once all the heat's on, once all the pressure's on, once everybody's watching, you're going to revert exactly to what you've practiced. Now, I remember when I was in late high school and then going through university, I used to stay up and I used to practice the pass all night long, sometimes literally longer every night than I'd like to even admit here, because it was so outrageously out of balance and I was so obsessed. And I used to sit there on my couch with my arms on my legs like this, looking down all the time, maybe looking up at the room, maybe looking at a book, but basically looking down with my arms on my haunches, like many of you do. I know who you are. You can't pretend. I can see you. And I would practice the pass that way. And I did that because it was very, very comfortable. And it reminds me a lot, when I think about it now, the position that my arms were in, resting on my legs. It's a lot like when you are shooting pool and you've got your cue stick and you've got to lean way far out over the table, and they have that extra stick that they call the bridge. That's for girls and beginners to use, where you take the stick and you place it on the bridge, and now you've got all that support. Well, the pass was working the same way. When you start with your hands and your arms on your legs like that, you're giving these supports for your arms. And you're only learning how to do the pass in this one position, which is only good if you happen to be sitting with a person on a bench somewhere performing magic for them, and then you happen to lean in and do it that way. Now, as most of you already know, that's hardly ever how we do magic. We're standing, we're sitting, we're at a table, we're leaning back, we're leaning forward, we're up on a parlor. But whatever we're doing, our arms are going to have to be loose, they're going to have to be free, and you need to practice the pass that way if you want to have some success with it, so that you can experience, as they would say on eHarmony, all the dimensions of compatibility that you can get into the shift when you've got your arms working for you. So that's one thing. Now, you don't have to wait till you're practicing the pass for this same practice habit issue to attack you. In fact, it's going to happen as soon as you begin discovering that you like magic enough to practice a lot in the first place. And the reason, in fact, that we're having this conversation is because I've noticed several of my students, when we come to discuss the lesson that they've had on the overhand shuffle, they start to practice this way with their arms resting on the table, and they'll start to shuffle away from the right hand, which is okay as far as it goes, but now they're really, really limiting the amount of movement that they can get without straining. They have to do the whole thing now by yanking up with their thumb or with their wrist, because they're not using their arms. So as soon as we get back together for our next meeting and we raise those arms up off the table and we talk to the student about how important it is to keep those arms free, that's when they begin to notice that both of the arms are moving. And of course, as soon as both of the arms are moving in practice, they're going to be moving that same way in performance. So please, 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 if you're staying at home evenings and practicing card magic because it's important to you, take the time to raise your arms up off of your legs or raise them up off of the table and make sure that they're loose, make sure that they're engaged, make sure that you're using them in everything that you do. Because if you want to use them in actual performance and you want the incredible power that just having use of your entire body can give your card magic and your performance in general, you're going to have to begin to access that power as you're actually learning the techniques and mechanics that make them work. So if this stuff makes sense to you, you are probably a very good candidate for online personal training with me. Go to aaronfishermagic.com/coaching and fill out your free student profile. It'll tell me a lot about you and your magic, And whether you're a beginner who wants me to take you by the hand and show you step by step exactly how this wonderful art works, or if you've been doing magic a while and you just feel like you're kind of stuck and you want to push past some of the walls that are holding you back, fill out that profile and let me know about you, and I'll get back to you with some ideas on how we can proceed. That's the Card Magic Minute. You can email me. I'm Aaron at aaronfishermagic.com with any questions, comments, or ideas you have for upcoming episodes of The Minute. Or you can follow me on Twitter at aaronfishercard. You can even get me on Facebook by sending me an email. I'm facebook.com/aaronfisher, and you can drop me an email and I will friend you right away. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you really soon.